we saw that an incident beam of light on a surface, which makes some angle with the normal to the surface at this point, being the incident angle, gets reflected by the same angle. So it makes the same angle with the normal to the surface. So while part of this beam of light gets reflected, part of it gets transmitted through the surface. And as it gets transmitted from one medium to another, it gets bent or refracted. So refraction is a change in the direction of a light ray as it passes from one medium to another. And it results due to the speed of light changing as it enters a new medium. Because light gets absorbed and emitted by the atoms of the medium, so it'll travel slower compared to its speed in a vacuum. Now the index of refraction of a medium is inversely proportional to the speed of light in that medium. So the constant of proportionality is the speed of light in a vacuum. So the index of refraction is the speed of light in a vacuum on the speed of light in a given medium. So if we turn this equation around, we get the speed of light in a given medium is the speed of light in a vacuum on the refractive index of the medium. So for clarity, the refractive index of water is around 1.33 and the refractive index for air is close to 1.0. So light travels faster in air than it does in water. So when light gets bent or refracted as it enters a medium, we still measure the angle of refraction relative to the normal of the surface. So let's call this medium 1 and this medium 2. So therefore we'll take the angle of incidence in medium 1 as theta 1 and the angle of reflection in medium 1 as theta 1 dash. And therefore the angle of refraction in medium 2 will take as theta 2. So again, using the Huygens-Fresnel principle, where each point on a beam of light is a source of secondary wavelets that interfere with each other. For this incident beam, part of it gets reflected, so this will be our reflected wavefront, and part of it gets transmitted and bent or refracted. So this here will be our refracted wavefront. So by geometry, this angle theta 1 is equal to this angle theta 1 that the incident wavefront makes with the surface. And given that this angle between a refracted ray and the refracted wavefront is 90 degrees, and this here is our angle of refraction, then given this angle is 90 degrees, this angle here of this triangle will be 90 degrees minus theta 2. And then if you subtract these two angles from 180 degrees, you'll get this third angle of this triangle being equal to the angle of refraction. So the distance that this secondary wavelet travels in medium 1 to the surface at time t is the speed of light in medium 1 by time t. And at the same time, this secondary wavelet is getting refracted through the medium. So over the same time, it'll travel a distance of the speed of light in the second medium multiplied by time t. So that will be this distance over here. And now using trigonometry, we see that sine theta 1 is equal to the opposite edge on the hypotenuse. So let's just call this distance h. And sine of the angle of refraction is equal to the opposite edge on the hypotenuse. And now if we divide these together, we get sine of the incident angle in medium 1 on the sine of the refracted angle in medium 2 is V1 on V2. And now using this relationship, the speed of light in medium 1 is the speed of light in a vacuum on the refractive index of medium 1, and similarly V2 is C on N2. So the C's cancel and N2 ends up in a numerator. So finally multiplying through by N1 and sine theta 2, we get N1 by sine theta 1 equals N2 by sine theta 2. And this is called Snell's law, which relates the angles of incidence and refraction of a light ray that's passing from one medium into another to the indices of refraction of medium 1 and medium 2. So when light travels from a medium with a lower index of refraction to a medium with a higher index of refraction, or a denser medium, the light ray gets bent or refracted towards the normal. So therefore the incident angle will be greater than the refracted angle. But if the light beam travels in the opposite direction, so if we take the bottom medium as 1 and the top medium as 2, so in this case the index of refraction of medium 1 will be greater than that of 2, then we see the beam of light getting refracted away from the normal. So in this case the incident angle will be lower than a refracted angle. And if the incident light ray travels along the normal to the surface, then the angle of refraction will be 0. So it'll just travel straight down. So to best remember these relationships, you can see that if N1 is lower than N2, for example, then theta 1 must be higher on this side for this equation to balance. Recall that we had an incident beam of light traveling from a medium 1 to medium 2. We had theta 1 as the incident angle and theta 1 dash as the angle of reflection. So part of this ray gets reflected and part of it gets refracted in medium 2. So by Snell's law, we had the index of refraction of medium 1 by sine of the incident angle in medium 1 is equal to the index of refraction of medium 2 by sine of the angle of refraction in medium 2. Now suppose N1 is greater than N2. So remember, for this case, the incident angle must be less than the angle of refraction for this equation to balance. So therefore in this case, the incident angle is less than the angle of refraction, meaning that the incident light beam gets refracted or bent away from the normal to the surface. Now if we keep increasing the incident angle, the refracted beam keeps going away from the normal, as we can see, until we reach this critical case where the incident angle becomes a critical angle. So at the critical angle, the light ray refracts at 90 degrees to the normal to the surface, so it travels along the surface of the material. And at this critical angle of incidence, we take theta 2, being the angle of refraction, as 90 degrees to the normal to the surface. So therefore sine theta 2 evaluates to 1, and then dividing through by n1, we get n2 on n1, and taking the arc sine of both sides, at the critical angle, we get theta c is equal to the arc sine of n2 on n1. So this is called total internal reflection, where for light rays with an angle of incidence beyond the critical angle, all the light gets reflected. So no light gets transmitted to the other medium. And note that this is only true where the index of refraction of medium 1 is greater than that of medium 2. So this can be seen if you take the sine of both sides. So we have n2 on n1. So therefore n1 must be greater than n2. Because remember that the range of sine theta is from -1 to 1. A diver shines a torch from the bottom of a lake that has a depth of 15 meters. And a light beam emerges at a small incident angle from the vertical. So the torch would be at the bottom of the lake and be oriented at some angle from the vertical. And in part A, we're asked for the depth that the torch would appear to a person in a boat. We'll recall Snell's law, which states that the refractive index of medium 1 by the sine of the incident angle is equal to the refractive index of medium 2 by the sine of the angle of refraction. So we know that water is denser than air, so the angle of incidence will be lower than the angle of refraction. So the light ray will refract away from the normal to the surface. So we'll denote the normal by this dashed line. So by geometry, these two angles are equal. And let's denote this distance here as x. So if we extend this refracted ray, the torch is going to appear to a person in a boat as if it's shining the light from this position here. So we'll take this position as the y position of the torch that we're looking for. Now by geometry, tan of theta 1 is equal to the opposite edge of that triangle on the adjacent edge, which is the depth of the lake at 15 meters. So given this is the refracted angle, by geometry, this angle is equal to this one. So therefore tan theta 2 is equal to x, which is the length of this edge of our right triangle, over the adjacent edge. So if we divide these two expressions, we get tan theta 1 on tan theta 2 is equal to y on 15. And note that we're told that the light beam from the torch emerges at a small incident angle. So given tan of an angle theta is sine theta on cosine theta, for small angles much less than 1, cosine of theta is approximately 1, and therefore tan theta is approximately equal to sine theta. So we can replace these two expressions as sine theta 1 on sine theta 2. So given the refractive index of water is approximately 1.33 and the refractive index of air is around 1.0, then by Snell's law, sine theta 1 on sine theta 2 is equal to n2 on n1. And solving for y, the torch is going to appear at a depth of around 11.3 meters. Now how far can the boat be to see the light emitted from the torch? Well, recall that total internal reflection occurs at some critical incident angle from the normal. So at this angle, all the light will be refracted along the surface. So therefore the refracted angle to the normal will be 90 degrees, and therefore the critical angle will be the arcsine of n2 on n1. So as we can see, the refractive index of the incident medium is larger than that of our second medium. So if you substitute for the refractive indices of both mediums, we get a critical angle of 48.753 degrees. And therefore this horizontal distance can be calculated using trigonometry. So we'd have tan theta c is equal to the opposite edge on the adjacent edge, being the depth of the lake, and solving for x gives you a distance of around 17 meters.